Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays. As usual, we're going to begin with our act of reverence, and the Pledge of Allegiance is, give me 1 second, is Anthony Smith here. Mr. Smith, could you come on down? This is surprising him a bit. Let's give Mr. Smith a round of applause. Hey, Mr. Smith, I need you to do me a favor. The American flag is over there. Would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Give us, everybody, a minute to stand up. You can go to the podium so everybody can hear you. Mr. Smith is one of our honorees tonight, so I figured he should have the honor of reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Smith.
Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Let's give Mr. Smith another round of applause. First order of business, we have to gain acceptance of the minutes from the November 20th business meeting, and it's been moved and seconded. Second, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. By the way, that includes November 20th business meeting and December the 11th special meeting. And now, Mr. Smith, it seems like you're doing musical chairs. I need you to come back up here with me for a second. Come on, Mr. Smith. And his mom here? Family here? Anybody from his family with him? Come on up. You are principal. While we get Mr. Smith's award, I want to explain what this is about. When about a year ago, what you saw up here at the dais was a whole bunch of pictures of past Rochester City School District students from years past, and those kids probably long since left this district. And so at the beginning of this year, the board said, let's replace those pictures with students from today, students who represent what is best about this district, and the teachers that represent what is best about this district. And every other month, we alternate awards. 1 month, we recognize a student and what that student has accomplished in the I Believe Award. Then we alternate it with the Yes We Can Award, which recognizes what schools do to show improvement. And we alter this month after month. So what you see there are the various recipients over the last few months. We're very proud of our students, not only because they show what the district is capable of, but they provide a role model to other students. This district is not going to turn around on the backs just of teachers and principals and superintendents and board members. It's going to be turned around based on how our teachers and our students act and move this district student by student, class by class. So this month, we're going to recognize Mr. Anthony Smith. Now, Mr. Smith is an 8th grader. He goes to number 19 school. He has been on the honor roll for the last 2 years. Let's give Mr. Smith a round of applause. It is wonderful. He has recently received the Breakthrough Award. One of these days, very soon, this district is going to receive its own Breakthrough Award. But he received the Breakthrough Award on October the 16th, 2014, from the Metro Council for Teen Potential for participation in the city's Thrive program. The Thrive program stands for Teens Helping to Reinvent Identity, Values, and Empowerment. Man, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. He was also recently nominated and awarded the opportunity to participate in a college tour through the Thrive program in June. As a result, he toured Florida colleges this past summer. Let's again give Mr. Smith a round of applause. Now Mr. Smith could not be who he is without, of course, his family, and his mother is right here. Let's give her a round of applause. And of course, he is supported by his able and capable and committed principal, Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas, would you say a few words about that?
Good evening. It is an honor to be here with Anthony and his mom. We are truly grateful for Anthony in our school community. He is a humble young man. He is a servant. He is a scholar. And we know that he's going to be doing great things in the future. This is his last year with School 19, and we wish him all the best. We forgot to bring up his favorite teacher, Miss Hastings, who he wanted to. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead, excuse me. But we are just excited that he's getting this award because Anthony believes in himself, and we believe in him. Thank you.
My name is Anthony. I attend school number 19, where I'm in the 8th grade. I'm here today to talk about the I Believe Award. I think I received this award because I believe in myself. I believe that anything I put my mind to, I can succeed at doing. I won other awards like the 2014 Breakthrough Award. I was nominated by the Thrive program. I was in Thrive last year where I attended all the field trips, college tours, and sessions. Over the summer when I was in Thrive, I even was picked to take a trip down to Florida. The Thrive program is a place where you can be yourself. Thrive helps people accomplish their goals. They want people to be the best they can be. They tell you everything you need to be successful in life with the information they provide. For example, doing what is right may not always be a popular thing to do, but that is okay. But I really was told by everyone that I earned it by having a 3.95 GPA. But as I was saying, if I can succeed and get awards, I know anyone else can if they try as hard as I do. I attend Flint Recreation Center where I played all the sports. I'm really successful in school because I have a lot of people that care for me and would love to help me in school and out of school, and I will not let myself fail. To be true to myself, I must pass. That's why I'm here today to receive this award.
Anthony, I'm giving you an award that the Board of Education develops called the I Believe Certificate of Recognition, and again it says award to Anthony Smith, presented by the Board of Education and the Superintendent of Schools in recognition of outstanding academic achievement, given this 18th day of December, 2014. Now, there's another element to this I Believe Award that we don't want you to miss. Every student that's ever taken those pictures has been supported not only by wonderful family members, but also by wonderful teachers. And so what we do as a part of this award is we say, hey, listen, Anthony, you're getting this award because you are just the kind of student that we are so proud of in this district. But we want you, this is what we said to Anthony a couple weeks ago, we want you to identify the teacher or the custodian or the cafeteria lady or the principal in your building that has supported you and believed in you. So this I Believe thing is a two-part plan here. It's recognition of the student and then also the student, not his teachers, not his principal, the student recognizes the adult in his building that believed in him. Who is that adult?
Ms. Hastings.
Is Ms. Hastings here?
Thank you very much. It is with most honor, and I'm so proud to be able to accept this award. Anthony is an outstanding student, and he kind of makes my job easy. He's so mature, and he's such a dedicated, motivated student. And yes, my job is a teacher, but my passion is to help the students to grow and to not only grow academically, but in all aspects of their lives, and to experience real success. Anthony has experienced the success, and I believe that in the very near future, he is going to have an awesome impact, positive impact, on very, very many lives in our district. Thank you.
All right, let me go back to my notes here. We normally have speakers addressing an item and then speakers not addressing an item. But before we do that, as I said downstairs, for those of you who missed it, we recognize that there are some folks out there that aren't as fortunate and blessed as we are. During this holiday season, many of us are likely to share various things, good meals and toys for some of our children. And some of us are challenged in that area. We cannot provide for our families, and we wanted to make sure, the Board of Education wanted to make sure that need in this community did not go unnoticed. Unfortunately, we don't have the kind of resources to meet every need in this community, but we can do what we can do. And so what the Board of Education did is they said, let's go and find the biggest box we could find. It happens to be a refrigerator box downstairs. Let's decorate it with some nice wrapping paper, put some ribbons on it, and tell people if you have an extra new toy that you don't need to put under your tree, put it in the box. Fill that box. And that was less than a week ago. And that box, as you see when you come in downstairs, is filled to capacity. We wanted to give those toys to agencies that are familiar with the needs in the community. And we have two such organizations here. We have the YWCA and Baden Street Settlement. Would Gladys Holloman and Bridget Lloyd come up? Give it to them. Just give them.
It gives me great honor to present these a sample of the toys that were donated to these very special organizations. If you came up, you see, the toys were running over in the boxes. And so, as you all know, there's great need in our community. We are number 5 in terms of rating for poverty in this community, and every little bit helps. And if we could make a child happy during this time of the year, we want to do that. And I just want to thank the employees of the Rochester City School District and board members for, I saw, Mr. President, when you were putting the box together, putting all the wrapping on the box, and to have it to be filled so quickly, that just speaks to the giving nature of employees in this district. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you especially for Baden Street Settlement, because I work there full time. And as Gladys can tell you, we serve more than 10,000, 11,000 families every year. And we've been around for more than 114 years, and I know that the Y has been around a long time too. So on behalf of the Rochester Board of Education and the Rochester City School District, this is just a sample of the gifts. The other ones will be coming. There's just too many to give you right now. So thank you so very much for all the work that you all do. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Thank you, Vice President Elliott. We're next going to move on to speakers addressing a non-agenda item. Is Anna Casserly here? Anna Casserly?
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
Vargas. Good evening, everybody. Merry Christmas for everybody. Happy holidays. My name is Anna Casserly, and I'm here about suspensions. At this moment, we appreciate it that we're getting the letters now. Thank you very much. We got the letters for every time the child is getting suspensions. We appreciate it. But at this moment, what I want to inform you is the letters is still coming in English. And a lot of the parents, they have a second language, did not understand the letter. And the other thing is, the letter was done in December 9, and we don't got the letter until yesterday. And the child was supposed to be back the 12th to school. We sent the child back to school, but he got suspension again because he don't show up in this place that he's supposed to be. And this is what's going on in this moment with a lot of the kids, the minorities, is that the children is still, with special education, getting suspensions, and the letters is still coming in English. Thank you, and have a good Christmas.
Beverly Usher here. Beverly Usher.
How you doing tonight? I'm here because I am a grandparent of a student of 44 School who has just been told, well, in September, that it was going to be phased out. Also, I am a member of the 19th Ward Association, and I am also a community member. I live in the 19th Ward. I live over there by Forest School. So I am having a hard time finding out that our community schools are being phased out, closed down, because the broad line is that a lot of us weren't notified, and in the long run, we're the ones who's going to have to live with whatever happens to that school and whatever you put in that school. And I want to rally to keep 44 open. Not only have I noticed that all the people there, like the president and the principal and the vice principal, they seem to know every student's name. But I've also been told that for the last 5 years, they have a 92% rate of student attendance. So, and of the 84.3% of them are eligible for free lunches or reduced lunch. So I'm also trying to figure out why a lot of the people in the neighborhood weren't asked, not just the people attending the schools, but the people in the neighborhood weren't asked what they wanted done with the school. Because like I said, I live right there, and I never heard a thing until I put my grandson in the school. And we also have a lot of different points of value toward the school. Not only that, we're trying to figure out what happened to the kindergarten class. We have a pre-K, and then it jumps all the way to the first grade. That's like trying to tell us, take your children somewhere else, and then maybe bring them back for the first grade, when it should go pre-K, kindergarten, first. So that's like another way of saying, get out of the school. And we're trying to figure out what is going on with the school, and how come we don't have more structured information about what is going on, and how we can see how we can better the school, and even more, how we can keep our school open. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from people addressing an agenda item. Karen Fox. Karen?
Good evening. I'd like to start out by saying thank you, board members, for allowing me to speak. And thank you, Van, and board members, for all that you have put in to this plan for East High School. I've been extremely passionate about East for the 4 years that my son has been there. My passion has been that much more so the last 10 months, striving to keep East. My son is a sophomore, has a 3.67 GPA. I've always done plan for the worst, hope for the best, have other contingencies in the meantime. I asked my son what he would do if the plan was shot down in some way, shape, or form. His response was, I'll quit school. No, this won't happen. So I thank you all for all of the time and the effort, and the folks from U of R for all the time and the effort that you've put into this. And I'm continuing to be passionate, and I will continue to run my mouth and say how wonderful East High School is. Go East.
And then we have President Joel Seligman.
I want to thank the board for considering the proposal to continue East High School under an educational partnership organization agreement tonight. This is a very significant moment for all of us. The University of Rochester, in its Warner School, led by the indefatigable Steve Eubing, has worked almost nonstop for the last 10 months, putting together an extraordinary proposal. It is a proposal whose intent is to double graduation rates within the next 7 years, increase college preparedness significantly, try to answer the question, how do you take a challenged urban high school, highly unionized, and make it a model of success? I think we have completed the effort, at least at the level of proposal. And I'm here tonight more than anything else to thank Bolhan Vargas for his help all along the way, the school board for inspiring and encouraging us at every step. I'm here to thank so many at the University of Rochester's Warner School for being passionately involved. I'm here to thank the 1,500 students who met with representatives of the UR to consider this, the teachers. I'm here to thank the 4 collective bargaining units that all have reached agreement to proceed. 3 have fully ratified it. The Rochester Teachers Association has a tentative agreement as of yesterday, and they've indicated that they will their leadership has recommended that they will enthusiastically endorse it when it is up for vote in early January. Particularly want to call out Adam Urbanski for his work on this effort, and the local representatives of the RTA. I'm here most of all to thank all of you who believe in the students of East High School. None of us want to see a single student fail. When a school has 43% graduation rates, there is a tragedy for at least 57% of the school. I'm very proud to be associated with the University of Rochester, and this is a challenge for all of us who live in Rochester. I was so inspired a couple of nights ago when we met at East High School for an informational meeting, and I heard the passion and conviction of so many on the school board. And I want to tell you, you're my heroes too. You're going out and basically making a commitment to take what is a great and historic school and basically say, as I repeated the words of Van and really the words of Susan B. Anthony, failure is not an option. Collectively, together, we're going to succeed. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I thank you on behalf of everyone at the University of Rochester. We want to work with you. And now I just give you 2 cautions. Now the hard part begins. If you approve this, it's not over. The hard part is not the plan. The hard part is the implementation of the plan. It will be years. There will be pitfalls along the way, unexpected challenges. We're in it as long as we are operating with you. We are committed to making East High School a success. You all know there will be some expense. I'm here to tell you it's worth it. Nothing matters more than the success of our children. And every child, whether in East High School, the University of Rochester, or anyone else in our community counts. Your commitment to our students, including those at East High School, is one of the most inspiring parts about being a citizen in Rochester. So more than anything else, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from all of us associated with the University of Rochester.
President Sullivan, before you go, the board has a gift for you. Given the fact it's the holiday season, you were thanking us. We wanted to thank you. If you don't mind, open it publicly so that everybody can see. Go ahead, open it.
Should I open it or should Steve?
Steve, come on up.
Come on up, Steve. This is for you.
Actually, Steve is not even feeling well, and he decided to come out after
I'm the
traveling.
mouthpiece.
So go ahead, open it up. This is from the Board of Education. This is our thanks to you. Not one of us. Thanks.
Rip it open.
It's $10 million.
That ought to do it.
He's one of those slow gift openers, eh? You know.
Oh, yeah, it's your phone tapes up.
Exactly.
All right, there we go. You officially sent out the hat says East High School, failure is impossible.
And in view of the fact that President Selkman has all his hair and I don't, I'm going to keep it.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to move up Resolution 2014-15-390 as amended, related to the EPO proposal of East High School. I'd like to move that up on the agenda for the purposes of discussion and voting on that. I'd like to make a motion to do that, Mr. President.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Who's second?
You second?
Yep.
All those in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Commissioner Powell?
Thank you. I was hoping we'd be able to register comments around this time. So let me first say thank you to the University of Rochester. And wearing my finance chair hat, say that the price tag on this is enormous, especially regards the startup cost. But we've been promised that every effort will be made by every member of our partnership team to advocate for more funds from the state to help make this happen. Because if we don't get more funds, then somebody suffers, or a whole lot of somebodies suffer so that East High can succeed. Now, we had help from Assemblyman Joe Morelli in getting extensions to timelines and so on, and without sounding the least bit critical, I don't want to sound critical, but in the past we haven't enjoyed open, enthusiastic support from him for the kind of budgets that Rochester City Schools need. So I hope that he and our other delegation colleagues are now perhaps more than ever invested in our public schools and in Rochester City School District. I hope that that's what we can infer from Assemblyman Morelli's support for this EPO effort. And I hope that as next year's budget season rolls around and we have to make those lobby trips to Albany, that we can see the fruits of advocacy efforts in the form of more money to the Rochester City Schools. Otherwise, we'll get this off the ground, and then there's no telling what's going to happen after that, because the state does not make multi-year commitments. So let's all get out there and talk to our elected officials. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Just let me say thank you to you for your leadership around bringing this plan to fruition. I know that you have worked your fingers to the bone on this, and I think that it's evidenced by this resolution that we have in front of us. Thank you to Joe Seligman and the University of Rochester, and also the 4 collective bargaining units. The only thing I want to say is that people need to realize how important this is. East High School is one of our biggest schools. So if we're going to ever move the trajectory of the graduation rate in the school district, we have to move the graduation rate at East High School. Just common sense, basic arithmetic. A large chunk of our students attend East. The health of East High School is critical and tied to the overall success of the district. So if you want to see our graduation rate as a district hit 75 or 80%, we have to deal with East High School. It's critical to the overall success of the district. And this is why this EPO is absolutely important. For years we have said if we could have higher graduation rates at East, the district's graduation rate would be up. If East's graduation rate could mirror that of Soda and Wilson, It would do monumental things for this district. And that's what everyone needs to think about. The overall, it's a big investment, it is. And you know, the budget director knows that I'm not the nicest person sometimes when it comes to finances. I put my hat on it. So I understand, this is a big commitment. It is, it costs money. But thousands of lives, thousands at East High School are dependent upon the success of this working. So this is key. The other thing I'll say is this gives us a chance to really be a national model for how an EPO in a public district can work. I mean, if we can do this, our folks sitting up here 20 years after us could look back to this moment and say, okay, this is where it got started, and this is how you do it. So I would urge people to read the plan. I think it's a great plan. I would urge all the public, read the plan, read it, go through it, and then help, more importantly, in the execution of it. So I enthusiastically support this resolution. I know there's a lot more work to do to get this implemented, but I think this is a good first step. And I think that how you start, my mother, God bless her soul, used to always say, Malik, how you start is how you finish. And how we started this, we started it right. We started this right. I mean, I'm sure there were hiccups along the way, but it was started right. The stakeholders were in the room. Community meetings were held. The staff was engaged. The bargaining units were engaged. The board was informed. This is how you start. And I'm convinced that if we finish the way we started, we'll have great success. Thank you.
Vice President Elliott?
Yes, Mr. President. I am very excited and enthusiastic about this relationship. One of the things that I've said to people in the community, you know, if we're going to have a chance in educational achievement for our students, unfortunately, we're going to have to break it up. Because it doesn't seem that we are able to put our hands around a school district as big as the school district that we have of 30,000 students. It just doesn't seem that we're able to be effective, to be efficient. We just heard from a parent who talked about the fact that just got a letter from about suspension, and on top of being suspended, another suspension because they hadn't received a letter. And so we don't seem, unfortunately, to get it right. Now, I have hopes that we're going to get this right. But University of Rochester brings to us credibility and gives us an opportunity to figure out how to do this. And that's what I am excited about. As we gave the toys to those two organizations, as I told you, I work for one of those organizations. I'm on Joseph Avenue every day. And so I see and hear what happens to our children when they don't have a quality education. I believe that with the University of Rochester's plan, we have an opportunity to have our children to have a quality education, and we have an opportunity to have a blueprint by which we educate our children in the remainder of the district. I met with ASAR members yesterday, had lunch with them, and they asked me a number of questions. Well, what happens, you know, if we're putting all this money in the University of Rochester, you know, what about the other schools? And I was, you know, pretty forthright. If we would have done our work in the beginning, we would not have had to bring in the University of Rochester. So it's on us, right? It's on us. We can't afford to have any other child not to have an opportunity for graduation. So if we've got to invest this kind of money into this program to see if we can have a model that works, I'm going to support it wholeheartedly. And that's what I've been saying to other people, that if we did it right in the beginning, we wouldn't have to have the University of Rochester in now. So we need to put as much investments into this opportunity, as I call it, as we possibly can to see if it's going to work. Because many, and I've also said this to them, many of the ones that was in their room, they don't live in this city, they don't send their children to school in this city. I said that to them, point blank about it. So we have to look at the opportunity that we have here to make sure that we educate our children. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments? If not, we can proceed to the voting.
No, we didn't.
Oh, unique. Sorry, did you? you want to have a comment?
Call the question, Mr. President.
All those in favor of resolutions 2014-15-390, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk, the ayes have it. The resolution passes. Congratulations, council. Okay, before we move on to the committee reports and superintendent's report, Unique, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. I was speaking recently with the Student Leadership Congress of our district, and I brought up to them the issue of the budget and things that they thought should be, budget money should be spent on more than had been spent on previously. And something came to my attention that is interesting. The two members of my Congress, one of them being my vice president, both of them attending SOTA, they mentioned that they had an issue with having soap in the bathrooms. And the fact that the school has a lack of having any soap in the bathrooms, which is an incredibly...
What school is this?
School of the Arts.
Okay.
And the fact that this is incredibly inappropriate, the fact that students don't have basic sanitary needs. And that recently, when the state came to the school, they actually did have the resources there then for when the state was looking in, but shortly after they left, the resources were depleted, and then they were not replaced. I think that is something we need to work on, and I think it's something that the students of this district deserve. Continuing, another issue people mentioned was security. And one of my friends at the Leadership Academy, he mentioned that the metal detector process of entering the schools was actually a hassle. This is not a reflection of the members this is not a reflection of the security, as none of the complaints were about them, but rather the policy and system they have to abide by their job requirements. Now, another major issue they also mentioned was the confiscation of cellular devices. While people's opinions do flux on whether it's appropriate or not, the biggest issue was the fact that there are cases that happen at my school, and it was mentioned at Leadership and not entirely SOTA, but Leadership Academy and my school, where during the process of handing the phones to the school to be confiscated, phones were stolen during that transition. And I think that if we do need to invest money in security, one of the primary things should be that we make sure that students' property, when it's being confiscated by the school, is secured by the school to make sure that their property is not lost. Also, I wanted to point out that on January 7th, we have the next Student Leadership Congress meeting here at the district building at starting at 3:30 to 5 on the second floor. And on the 5th, we have the Youth Council meeting for instructional improvement. Also, enjoy your holidays and enjoy your day.
Thank you, Unique. I apologize to my colleagues who have taken things a little bit out of order, but we're still on track. My understanding is Makita Sloan is not here. I don't see her out there. I know Willie was trying to reach her. She is the president of our Parent Advisory Council, and she normally at every business meeting issues us a report with respect to where the parents are at, what their concerns are, and what they've been doing. So we'll try to get a written report from Makita. That would take us to the superintendent's report. Dr. Vargas?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask the board member to join me for the presentation. The front seat, please.
And we were given a budget overview.
Oh, we have it. We can do it from here. We have it.
Would you prefer that we
is the screen coming down?
Please, yeah.
Do we need to move?
Well, thank you, President White, and Vice President Evans, and members of the public and the board. Tonight I'm going to give you an overview of our budget season. I'm going to touch on a couple of things. The opportunity and challenge ahead to us, and also I want to thank the board because you deserve a lot of credit for supporting me or planning ahead. We no longer I come with surprise in February, as it used to be. Now we're giving ourselves time to plan and execute well when it comes to budget matter and also funding our priority. I also want to thank the members of the school district administration and everyone that will be involved, from families to students to board member unions. This is a collaborative process that takes a lot of time and effort and participation from all of us. So once again, this is no new to you in terms of we haven't changed our priorities, thank God. We have our 5 key priorities. Again, student achievement and growth. And as you saw from our last result that we got from the state, we are experiencing some growth, but we haven't gotten even close to what we need to be in terms of achievement. Parental and family and community engagement, communication and customer services, effective and efficient allocation of resources, which is an area that we're going to talk a lot today, and also strengthening the management system. Our academic priority are very clear, and thank you for your support on them. And also, we have taken in the past, which you need to be commended for, we have ended the annual budget crisis. We have to turn our budget challenge not into a crisis, but into an opportunity to work hard, and we have done that to make sure that we are doing the best we can to support our students and the people who work here. As you heard tonight, one of our key actions that we took in the action plan was that we said that we were going to have a college or university to manage one of our school. The theory was that a university could introduce some innovation to it, and it could help us expedite the changes that are necessary to transform a complex building like East High School. And the work is on the way for that. Career and technical education, a year ago I gave you an assessment of the district where we were with career and technical education. This year, in this budget, you're going to see that we are acting on that and engaging our stakeholders to improve the student behavior. We do have a task force, which I appreciate that the unions and board members, Commissioner Adams, for example, is part of that. And we have engaged our community because student behavior is something that we all need to work. I don't need to tell you this is a challenge that we have experienced for a very long time. And we have taken action to eliminate our some learning loss. Actually, Rochester, this week we were recognized by the national organization for our effort in addressing expanded learning and the summer learning loss. And we now have some rigorous evidence that that we know how to do this and that we can do it well. Perhaps it's flattering to know that others can learn from us. Again, a budget is a statement of values and priorities. That's where you should start. We are proposing that we are going to continue to fund our priorities, maintain student stability for families and staff, and we want to be transparent in what we do. And we will begin to do that tonight if we know what the challenge is and perhaps how you can help us in addressing that challenge. We will continue to eliminate the structural budget gap, although I will tell you that that is a challenge given what you just heard about the potential expenditure for places like these and all the investment that we need to make. You are very familiar with this. I don't need to tell you that we have a significant declining enrollment. Again, a group budget, technically speaking, the component of a technical budget begins with student enrollment for the school system. how many teachers you're going to have, how many bus drivers, how many buildings, how many people you need to buy. You should begin with how many students you have. In the past, in the past 15 years, our student enrollment had decreased by about 8,000 students, 23%. And as you can see, in this graph, it tells you more or less the decline, and it's something that we continue to experience. Once again, we have experienced a decrease of 8,420 students, which is the equivalent of 23% of our student populations in the year 1999-2000, and we have adjusted our workforce, or reduced our workforce by 9%. Next, please. This is about the charter school, which is only one driver for declining, but as you can see, it's only 4,000 kids that are now in charter school. We cannot say that our declining is just due to charter school. There are other demographics, and as you know, there are families that do move from Rochester to the suburb, looking, in their words, no money, looking for a better school. In many cases, that's not known to you. That's why we have a sense of urgency to improve our schools, so that is not used as a reason for a family to have to move from our city. And that growth in there, if you could go back in here. As you know, there was a policy change in here in New York State. They lifted the cap for charter school, and they have been more aggressive plans, and the cap was lifted, particularly in Rochester, to increase that. So, next please. Again, this is about our facility, which you heard one of our speakers tonight, and again, this is the hardest thing for a board member, or for a superintendent, or a teacher, or the students, particularly for us, to have to recommend to our community that you need to close the school building. It's one of the hardest things. We want treasure that experience, but sometimes it's necessary to do so. And in our case, unfortunately, as you can see, our total capacity for elementary school is 21,215, and right now we have an excess capacity of 2,800, approximately 14%. The problem is most serious at the high school level, and as you can see, we have a total capacity for 16,660, and we are now operating on a 67% capacity. When you get here, you get into a dangerous zone in terms of inefficiency throughout the system. You know, the more building you have, the more gas you have to buy, the most maintenance, and the more resources that are devoted to facility, the less you have for textbook and other things for our students. The total capacity for our district is 37,875 students, and our total enrollment, as you can see, is 29,471. Again, you have made some difficult decisions. I remember that my first year here, I needed to recommend to you, unfortunately, the sad reality that we needed to close school number 6. And my plan, as I told you then and I tell you now, is that as we make facility adjustment, we have to do it gradually. We can experience what Philadelphia, Chicago, or other places have experienced, where you close over 60 buildings in a particular school system, and that creates an incredible disruption. And in Rochester, again, all this action you have taken in here, in this area, including, as you know, we also finalized the close-up of about 10 buildings, and that wasn't easy. We went through a period of opening and closing the school, and you are very familiar, and that was a difficult decision when we did that, and this side, and then you took action, again, for School 44, 36, 25, and 22. We are beginning to execute your action that you took last year on this area. So once again, I want to thank you, because this is probably the most challenging situation, but as you know, people have been telling us, how are you paying or buying more for our students at the same time that you have a budget gap? Part of our strategy to close the budget gap include adjusting our facility. That is just one of many. Once again, Commissioner Powell will tell you that she always points to the state. It's very bright because the state accounts for 65% of our revenue. As you can see, the city, we received 119 million from the city, which account for 15%. We are fiscally dependent. Our future is, in terms of finance, over, as you can see, close to 85% of our finance comes from the state and federal. This I'd like you to pay attention, because you heard about Race to the Top, that this is an area that in the budget that was just adopted for fiscal year 15 for next year, they are going to reduce the so-called Race to the Top, which came back, which was introduced as part of the economic crisis that we were experiencing, also as part of implementing the Common Core implementation. So this is going to be a challenge. Now I do know that some of you have been questioning the Race to the Top. So, but nevertheless, in terms of investment, it's something that we have to pay attention to. Our expenditure, as you can see, you know this as well as anyone here, is driven by salary and compensation and employer benefit. It accounts for about approximately over 63%, and then we have a various other area, as you can see, followed by charter school, which is, as you know, the money goes through us. Last year, for example, 60% of the dollars that we got from the state went to charter school. So it's sort of like, yes, your revenue went up, but one cost alone absorbed 60% of the increase. That is some of the challenges that we are facing, not just as a board, but also as a district that we had to face. However, as I told you, go back to this slide, please. When you have $788 million, that is no small change. We are no poor here. And I know that some of you might disagree, but one of the things that we wanted to say to you is that if we invest well, we'll be able to face our challenge to make sure that our students and the staff here are well served. I'm not saying that it would be we are paying, but it doesn't have to be turned into a crisis. It doesn't have to be in a situation in which we used to lay off significant amount of people, but the challenge was that we used to bring them back. So actually we were paying double, because when I got here we were paying, I think of 1 year over $3 million on unemployment. We have reduced that by over $2 million, just by making sure that we plan well. However, the credit goes to a very highly competent staff. By no means I'm telling you that this work can be done by one person. And the credit goes to you for supporting those recommendations. Next, please. Action to control current year costs. We are not waiting for next year or for budget to arrive. So the first thing that we are doing is I monitor very carefully our core team, SOCTITU, our central office. We are planning to make whatever necessary adjustment we can make to our budget to reflect our enrollment. And we have a hiring freeze for any position that is deemed non-essential. It doesn't make sense to hire someone today, so to give them a pink slip at the end of the budget season. And thank you for your support. Again, those are no easy decisions, but they had to be made. Position Control Committee, this is an area that I wanted to tell you that it was scary how we did lack certain control here. And thank you to Bill Amber and his team that had charged him to make sure that we know how many people we have on our payroll in a given week or in a given month, and to monitor how people get hired very closely. And you might think that that is easy, but that had given us as much difficulty as keeping our attendance straight. People would think that taking attendance is something that we could do in an easy way, right? We know how to take attendance. We know how to do that. The same thing I thought about position control, but we are arriving now to a point that we have the degree of sophistication that is needed in a complex organization such as this. Right now we have about 60 teaching vacancies and about 120 non-teaching vacancies, which is approximately 180. So again, given that we are probably experiencing a growth in the charter school, declining enrollment, and all the issues, we are monitoring this item very carefully. Traveling, every dollar matters here. We are paying attention to every expenditure very carefully, including travel. Next, please. Again, we are going to continue to fund our priority, which is more and better learning time. I need to thank you again. We ended last year the sad reality in this district, that we were giving our children the least amount of instructional time. And again, that was something that I told the bargaining unit that I would not recommend to this board. An agreement that didn't end that. And we did achieve that with your support. Reading in grade level by 3rd grade, we need more reading teachers in this district. We went from 0 to 16, it's not even close to what we need. So we need to continue to address the instructional excellence. Again, as you heard tonight, the University of Rochester is on the way for managing East High School. Wilson IB is one of our key strategies to restore that school to where it needed to be. So people are working very hard to make sure that next year there's a plan in place. We are working hard already. It doesn't mean that we have been waiting, but we need to make sure that we continue to support them, and they are on their way. They experienced an increase in graduation rate this year by about 6 points. They went from 66, I believe, to 70%. Edison, President White, and Melissa Campbell were at that presentation, in which there are many members of our community that want to support us. The Leadership Academy of Young Men, remember that was a building that is at Charlotte. It makes sense that if you're going to have a school for young men, that they have their own campus, that they don't have to coexist with girls. Not that we have anything else, but the design had to be, the building has to be one in which support the design of that school. And we are planning to do that, and hopefully look at what resources they might need to make that school successful. The facility modernization plan, again, Governor Cuomo yesterday adopted that. This is, you need to be commended. $325 million. We're just going to finish that next year. Many of our facilities, including 58, you can't wait to be there in February, right? And that you should see that building. It will make you proud. But it is a significant amount of dollars that are going into it. And you know, have been the most challenging building for us because of all kinds of challenges when you're dealing with a 100-year-old building and you want to modernize it. And again, we are in the way to execute on the phase 2, 435 million, which was adopted yesterday. And I know that some of you have been concerned with school number 16 will be part of that. So there's a lot of work. Patty and Holly are working very hard to make sure that we don't miss a day. Because our students cannot wait, particularly when you see some of the conditions of some of our facilities. Continue to close the structural budget gap. Again, we are retaining the essential services despite federal budget cut that might come our way. Close the low-performance school. I mean, one of the challenges that we are facing is when you have a surplus of space and you need to adjust your enrollment, it makes sense for Rochester, for the school that I'm not doing as well. I mean, when you have a school that is graduating 33%, 36% of the kids, and when you look at certain demographic, there has to be a sense of urgency. And our children don't have any time to lose. Unlike me, you know, sometimes you get with gray hair, you can sit there for a while. But that's not the case when you only have 5 years old once, and we do know that the early years of our lives matter, and in terms of our future. Again, key financial assumption for the next year budget. We expected at least 3% increase on foundation A, 3% in the formula A, and building A, 2%. And the city of Rochester have been flat for probably the past, I believe, Commissioner Powell, the past 8, 10 years. So grant funding, as I mentioned earlier, it is projected to go down, particularly driven by Race to the Top. So that means, again, this picture will tell you that we have a serious challenge. You can see the driver is continued to be salary, and also benefit and all the cost, retirement. I tell people there that all of us who are in New York State pension system, we think that when we get the check, it comes from New York State. But it is interesting the contribution that the district had to make to our pension system. Normally it's not known even by the people who work here. One of the things that we are not ready yet, but I'd like to get there, is for when we get our paycheck, that we don't just get our salary, but we put in here some organizations that do this well. They send you a letter every year and they say, this is how much it costs to have you be part of this organization. For example, I'm costing you significant amount of dollars for healthcare. I'm costing you significant amount of dollars for retirement. And everyone in this organization need to understand, and I need to thank our unions. We did work very hard in this area. And we did accomplish some adjustment in healthcare. Actually, our projection here was through the roof. And we brought it down, I believe, built to 3%, and now it's going up back to 9%. Our bargaining unit, one of the things that I'd like to do in the very few weeks that I'm going to be asking is to sit down and see if we can make some adjustment to our healthcare so that we can make sure that our essential services are provided here and that we don't have a system that experiences the kind of disruption that we have experienced in the past. As you can see, the charter school will account for 19% because of their growth and tuition that has gone through the night. And And of course, we experienced that decline in grant expenditure, please. Again, the key driver for the budget gap, charter school, 9.7 million for the 36.3 gap. I'm sorry, fund, 9.7 from charter school. Salary increases 6.5, and retirement 6.2. Notice that the retirement versus your salary. The point that I was making, that when we talk about salary, if that was the only thing that we had to pay attention, we'd be in great shape. But we had to pay attention to salary, healthcare, pension, and other compensation, transportation, and other general funds. You can see a special aid fund, again, Title I activity shortfall is around 2 million, and also the net of other special aid fund. So our projected gap for this 2015-16 budget year would be 20.5 million. Now, in the past, what we have said is, and I was here, Commissioner Powell, review, and we said we got to go to Albany. So they give us more money. And we would march, I remember we would cook it in the bus. That haven't worked. So what we have done is to say, how can we be more disciplined in our expenditure and see how we can shift resources and work collaboratively with everyone and see what we can do. At the same time that we advocate for fun. I'm not saying that you don't do that. But you're not going to get this kind of money from the state of New York. We wish, because that would make things a little easier, but one lesson that we have learned in the past 3 years is that that can be done if we work together, if we are disciplined, and we get you support. So our academic priority, we don't want to just talk about the gap. Anyone can close the gap, by the way. You can cut, let's say, from every department, you can cut 5%, and there goes you. That's it. Budget is closed. And that is very undisciplined, very harmful, because that means you don't have priority. Now, I will tell you that each one of you and I are here because we want to serve our students and the people who work here. And the best way to do that is that, as you have done, you have adopted some key priority. That it is very clear through our organization. So I want to add $15 million to our priority. Our teachers and principal and family are telling us, President White has been in some of those conversations where they say we need more reading teachers. In urban district, for example, we are reading teachers. We tell you that that we need to. It's not that we want to. There's a need for more, as we know, and it's paying off. We're seeing that it's working in our school. We have to improve our instruction, our expanded learning, as you've seen by our own data. We are seeing that those schools are experiencing better growth. And in some cases, they do much better than other schools in terms of achievement. Again, we want to have 15 million for our key priority, 10 million we estimate for East High School. That is our estimated cost, which is not a small number of dollars, and something that we're going to have to proceed very carefully. 10 million point forward. Now, the projected gap, when you look at the 40 million plus the 25.4, we have a challenge to close the gap and fund our priority is 65.9. Now, if we forgot about our priority, we would be much easier to deal with this problem. However, that will not be whether we can no longer continue to have a district while the reading teachers. For example, we are art or music or sport or extracurricular activity or textbook. By the way, I want to thank everyone in the community. We sent 40,000 books through an agreement with First Book. Thank you. There was a line of teachers on Saturday with families. So we're no longer talking about Commissioner Elliott that our children don't have hope. We have the ability to get them there. But it doesn't happen because we wish. We're going to have to budget carefully. And I thank you for your support for that. Again, I want you to remind us, this is a general thing, this is our challenge. 65.9. It is not 40. And again, we have to talk about what we have. Even if you were to look at this in the context of $888 million, you still have. I don't want people, teacher, anyone in this community to say, my God, what's going to happen to my kid? Like it used to happen. I remember my neighborhood. People would put their house for sale according to what we were going to provide in the budget. Now, that is not going to happen if we will continue in the same trajectory that you have established in the last 2 to 3 years. Again, we propose action to meet our challenge. This is our proposed action. We will continue to aggressively pursue more grants. We have foundation, for example, just to give you an idea, we've got some promising for grants from the Wallace Foundation for our summer learning. We got some promises for our career and technical education from the Ford Foundation. And although these are things that we cannot necessarily count on it, but we can work hard to make sure that we pursue revenue in a way that we can fund our priority. Again, the reduction of central office, we are hoping to accomplish it, that we reduce our central office by $15 million. So our hiring freeze and our non-essential position, we're hoping to achieve $8 million in savings on that. And we want to align our special education. As you can see, our special education we're behind about 12 years. And every year we have a struggle with it. And it's no wonder why Rochester had the lowest graduation rate for special ed children, perhaps in the state. But you look at our practice, and we can't wait. But this is going to require some tough decision, which we are going to be advancing to you during the budget process. We need to partner with our bargaining unit to align the health insurance costs. Hopefully we can accomplish $5 million, and we're counting in every bargaining unit to help us with that. We are going to execute what you voted for, what you supported us for, which is to execute on the closure plan. And we are planning to achieve $4.5 million through that approach. And we are beginning to close Charlotte if you were to support us on that. Again, you're not being asked to vote on that until February, so you have plenty of time to ask questions, to deliberate, to engage the public on that. Redesign the secondary alternative programs, and we are going to defer our IT cash investment for waiting for the smart bond that was just passed in this past election. So we are not just going to, so we won't experience any decline in our investment in technology, but the revenue sources will be different. So when I talk about student attendance, there is no other area that I think that we have control of that we can improve the district. I have to talk about staff attendance. Again, everyone. It's a serious problem in the district, from central office to the schools, about the number of employers that don't show up. I remember one day, 25%. Well, I know that when I sent a letter, no one was happy with me. But I can, in good conscience, will serve 25% of my workforce being out. Unless there's an epidemic, I know bring it as a problem. I mean, and that's something that we have control of. If we were to reduce that, that's 1.5 million. That will help us put a reading teacher in every elementary school. And I want to thank again the team and the newest member, Adele and Christiana and Barker and Keith, because we are committed to make sure that we do everything we can to fund our priority, to make sure that we continue on the same trajectory. And we also believe, once again, that this can be done. I'm not saying it's easy. If it was easy, we would have done it before. So, together, I believe that in the past 3 years, we have accomplished a lot. Before, we had a $136 million gap in the past 3 years. We were able to close it. 46 through budget efficiency, and we did it with minimal layoff. We phased out some of our schools that were in challenge, and again, we began to these are just some of the examples of the investment that we put in. Music teacher. Yes, Commissioner Evans, who told me and President White, I want a marching band for our kids. And we began, and we increased music and arts, 43% for arts and music. And by the way, this is the best way to engage kids. Can talk about reading teaching. This is the area that troubled me the most, because we need to, and we are going to move very aggressively. Our librarians, 23%. The saddest thing for me was when I saw one of our school, elementary school, with a librarian that only was there for a day a week. And we had changed that, but we have much to do, by the way. Social workers, sport, and these are just some of the examples, and you can see, if you go to Wilson, we had a half a music teacher. Patty and I were there last week, and there were over 125 students playing with 3 music teachers, once again, instrumental, vocal music, and the school were unbelievable, about 200 parents at that night in Genesee Street. And that wouldn't be possible without your investment on that. Graduation rate, you heard it today. We had the highest graduation rate of 51%, and that includes August, in the last 5 years, even though the standards are much tougher today, because the local diploma went away. We have a long way to go. What would you say to the 49% that didn't finish on time? And also we had challenges, not just graduating the kids, but getting them ready for college, career, and citizenship. We do know that we are not even approaching what we need to do. Next, please. We will continue to improve. Again, this is we call a new era for funding student achievement. We will add more reading teachers. We will have at least one for every elementary school, but there are some schools that perhaps we need 2. Let me just repeat, I was at school 29, for example, and it was tough for me to walk away and have a school principal asking me to help our children read on grade level, and they're asking for the right stuff. A reading teacher is essential, particularly in any district, but particularly in an urban district, where we will continue to maintain or expand art, music, sport, our social social emotional support. We will continue on our path for expanding our school day. We are planning to add 3 new schools next year. We will continue to aggressively address the summer learning loss through academic enrichment program. We will, with your support, this is one of the tragic situations for our urban youth, is summer employment. Today you have less opportunity in Rochester, New York, if you're a youngster, 17 or 18 years old or 16, to get a summer job, that if you were living here in the 1990s. So we are doing that as a symbolic effort. I wish I could hire every one of them. We know that kids that work and can find a job during the school year that they can do much better, and they tend to stay out of trouble more. So I think you need work last year. So you were one of the few that we had, and thank you. I saw you doing a great job helping our children during the summer with our key goal, which was reading. And you as a role model were incredible. So hopefully you are available this summer. So we will continue to expand opportunity for our secondary school, our pathway. Deputy Superintendent Adele and Kev and all are working hard to make sure that we get into the Edison redesign, Wilson IB for all, and of course the ECPO and the Academy for Young Men. Again, that doesn't mean that because I list those 4 schools that we are ignoring all the schools. We just once again emphasizing that we have to be careful because it's about every child. And we want to treat every child like one of our own. We can't just say that we want to be just working in one particular school. So we need to improve our special education services, and we will enhance our technology and security through the Smartphone Act, which was passed this year. Here is how we're planning to continue to engage you and the community and the people who work here. Here's your timeline. You have a copy. My hope is that, as you always have done, that you continue to be involved and engaged as much as possible and early on as possible. So, Commissioner Power, here's your timeline. You normally they want to take the charge from the board to do that. That gives you an idea. Again, the day that I will present the budget to you, this is a key day, which is March 23rd, 2015. Next, please. With that, I thank you, and I look forward to continue to work with you and the staff and also the community and our partners, our labor unions and all that. For us, once again, we no longer are talking about what we don't have. We will continue to do this budget with one thing in mind. How do we fund our priority? How do we close the gap? We are harming our students and the people who work here, and we are creating a crisis, meaning that we don't need to panic. This is a challenge, not necessarily something that we could tomorrow say what's going to happen here. I do know that it's inevitable that families and people who work here will say, my God, they have a $65 million challenge. What does that mean to my own child education or to my own future? What I have to say to families is that we will continue to strengthen our school, strengthen our district, and to the board, we said that we use support, and if we engage this in a well-disciplined manner, we will execute well, and we will do it again, like we have done it in the past 3 years. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Good.
I appreciate it, right, Mr. President?
You sound terrible.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't gonna show up, but, you know,
You sound like you're eating marbles.
I wanna be a good example for my employers to show up even when you're sick. I know. Good job. Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any cough drops for you anywhere?
Yeah, thank you.
Be the change you wish to see for the world. There you go.
Margaret Mead.
Yes.
Who are you?
Oh, big class, huh? Oh, I wondered why we had that great big contingent back there. This is School of the Arts? No. Yes. So where do I sign? Are you gonna go home now?
There you go.
What time is it? We'll just put the time right now. You said to stay how long? An hour?
Well, you know what it means is be on grade level by 3rd grade. So most people aren't, if you're not reading on grade level by 3rd grade, you can't. Right. Yeah, take care.
Those
Okay, we're going to, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on with our business. We're going to begin with our standing committee reports. I would note the hour, and I would ask folks, if possible, to synopsize your reports or opt for written reports. I realize in some situations that won't be possible, but...
Mr. President, and I also had some questions for the superintendent, but I will put them in the email.
Okay, that is a great idea. Any other questions that have to be asked today of the superintendent?
I'll put them in the email.
Okay, all right. That's fine. And if you have a point of personal privilege that you'd like to raise during your committee reports, that's fine. But again, the hour is kind of late. Let's begin with Commissioner Powell with Finance.
Yes, thank you. Well, my written report's longer than it has to be. You'll find it is on board docs, so I won't read the detail, only to tell you that we met on Thursday, December 11th, considered resolutions 355 through 65.
Your mic.
Well, the light's on. I don't know. Oh, is that better? Sorry. We met on Thursday, December 11th, and considered resolutions 355 through 365, 369 through 70, 379 through 380. All of the resolutions that we considered were approved and forwarded to the full board. The most important resolutions on here being the budget amendment. There are 3 budget amendments, no change to food service. Aside from reminding you which resolutions are the finance resolutions, I can do that when they come up for a vote, but it remains that we forwarded everything. The committee does recommend the November finance report, and I move that this full board receive those reports.
So moved. Second.
Yep.
You moved it, I second.
Oh, that's right.
I second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That concludes my report. Our next regular scheduled meeting will be the Thursday before our January board meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell.
On not points of personal privilege so much as my service on the NYSBA board, we did meet in December as one of our regular quarterly reports, and if anyone would like to know what's going on in NYSBA, I'm happy to talk to them about it.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes, thank you. Very brief report. We moved our meeting to accommodate the board special meeting. The next ESA meeting will be Tuesday, January 13th, and we'll be discussing probably one of the most important topics that we will be discussing throughout the year and continue to discuss. Graduation rates were released today. We will be discussing graduation rates. And the last thing I'll say is, hopefully, we'll get to a day when the state will recognize 4- and 5-year graduation rates. Because guess what? I went to college with some folks who took 6 years to graduate. Some took 8 years to graduate, but I think we should at least give 5-year graduation rates the same credence that we give 4 years. Some kids need a little bit more time. There's nothing wrong with taking 5 years to graduate. That concludes my report in my soapbox.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Vice President Elliott?
Yes, Mr. President, the Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee did not meet for the month of December, but we will meet in January, and part of the agenda for January includes a discussion and review of the legislative breakfast, an update on school climate, that whole initiative that's going on. We will begin discussions of a communication strategy, how we can inform the community more of the issues that are going on in the district, to be more effective with that, and so that our community is informed. From my chair position, I plan to increase my travels to Albany and DC to talk more about the issues that affect students and families. And that concludes my report. The next meeting of the Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee is on Tuesday, January 13th at 6 p.m. But I would like to ask for a point of personal privilege. Just a couple of things. One is that I want to, and this is personal, doesn't represent the board, but I do want to acknowledge the activism that's going on in our nation and in the world in the name of justice. Martin Luther King has taught us that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I support all of the protests that are going on around the world so that everybody has an equal opportunity in this nation and is protected by the laws of this nation. And just lastly, I'd like to just extend happy holidays to my colleagues here on this dais and Mr. Superintendent. And so I wish that you all have a prosperous new year, and God bless you all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Commissioner Cruz?
Yes, mine will be brief as well. We also had to cancel our meeting in view of the fact that we had a special board meeting on December the 11th. We have moved items like student record and privacy policy, the daycare policy, and the replacement of board policy, district prohibiting the discrimination or harassment of students or employees. Those can be moved to our January meeting. For you this evening, you have two items that are discussion items. The New York State concussion management policy and the professional services contract policy. And our next meeting is scheduled for January the 15th. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Commissioner Cruz. Commissioner Adams?
The Audit Committee met on December 2nd with the external auditor Freed Maxick CPAs to review the results of the district's financial audit for the year ending June 30th, 2014. All board members received a draft copy of the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It's with you on the dais, I believe, and had an opportunity to ask questions and attend the meeting. Actually, the final edited versions are on the dais. The Office of Auditor General reviewed the draft CAFR, and the concerns communicated to the administration have been addressed in the final version, which was sent to all board members last week. We are seeking board approval for Resolution 2014-15, number 381, to accept the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the year ending June 30th, 2014. These financial results will be submitted to the New York State Education Department after board approval. That concludes my report. I do have a couple points of personal privilege. One is I want to recognize School 45. I visited School 45 yesterday when their very energetic acting principal, Jason Wirtz, did his, I guess, annual December event where he recognizes student reading, where students do extensive reading and keep track of their logs and the amount of their reading by going on the roof of the school and staying on the roof all day long during the winter weather. And it's very nice. It's, you know, he gets lifted up there with a fire truck lift, and it's, you know, it's a nice celebration. But what really impressed me and why I wanted to include it in my report was the school is really, I think, making some important progress. They really has a vision for transforming School 45 into not only an expanded learning school where there's a lot of supports, but truly a community school. For example, this year, there's now a place for adult students and parents of the children who attend the school to do GED programming. And what I saw was parents, very young parents of kindergarten child, monitoring and not monitoring, but welcoming people into a community room. And they had their GED courses scheduled for later that day. And I found out through talking with them that they come every day and that they are there as a presence in the school. And it was just a really nice thing. And then the other thing, there were many things that impressed me in this visit yesterday. But another one was that the middle school students were acting as ambassadors to the people coming in because of the celebration on the roof. And there were a number of them, several middle school students who were assertive, gracious, came up, introduced themselves to me, and it was just a really nice experience. And I want to recognize that because 45 has had some really serious challenges and continues to have challenges, but it was good to see the progress. And then on another note, I just want to continue to raise a concern that I've raised many times. We collectively, the superintendent, the board, the leadership of this district have said and repeated that strengthening neighborhood schools really is one of our priorities. So in that vein, talking once again about the 19th Ward, which has an extremely large population of school-age children, families with school-age children, the concerns about stability of neighborhood school options for our neighborhood is very real and very serious. So several years ago, when 16 was quickly and urgently evacuated and placed at Scioto Street at Freddie Thomas, the board did make very clear our expectation and our desire for School 16 to return to Post Avenue. After quite a few years actually of uncertainty, Commissioner Evans, myself, and others have really pressed to get a report on what it would take and what the timeline is reasonably to return to School 16 on Post Avenue. And the report basically says 2018 would be the earliest possible within reasonable financial and facilities expectations. What also seems pretty clear to me is that had we, as a district, committed to returning that very same month or year or summer in which it was evacuated, that there could have been this serial planning could have taken place where you take into account the state aid sequences in which you can become eligible for aidable support once again, that if that had happened, we could be moving our families back into our neighborhood school much earlier. But that's water under the bridge, over the dam, whatever the case may be. So 2018 looks to be the earliest date. What I really want to advocate for now is what I didn't know that a parent was going to come and speak about tonight is 44 school. So 44 and 16 are the only two neighborhood schools that serve the 19th Ward. 29 school also serves it to some extent on the edge, but is a relatively specialized school. If we do not have kindergarten at School 44 returned, because there's no kindergarten there this year, there's no neighborhood kindergarten access in our neighborhood again. And I think that, the board approved the closure of the School 44 building. There's nothing I can do about that. But given that School 16 is not going to reopen until 2018, and given the lack of other options, I would strongly, strongly urge that we have kindergarten at School 44, and that we give the School 44 community a definite timetable of what the plan is. This is something I've been asking for years, since the school was identified for closure, because the range was given as this year or like 6 years from now. We need to tell our families for stability what the plan is. So thank you for listening and for addressing that concern.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Now for the President's report. I want to begin by recognizing two people who are retiring, and I appreciate them staying here, although both of them are here because they're continuing to do their work and their job, and we appreciate you for that. One of the individuals is busy right now doing his job, so he's not going to be able to take the mic, and I want to, if I can, briefly summarize why we are so blessed that we had you here in this district for 29 years. Sam, who is the gentleman behind the camera, is retiring after 29 years of service. He also, in addition to being a brilliant cameraman, you getting my good side, Sam? Which one? Thanks, Ed. He is also served as a translator for the district. But I suspect that Sam is going to find plenty of things to do in retirement. Check this list out of activities that Sam engages in. Apparently he is an enthusiastic motorcycle rider. He is a longtime bass player, all right? Yeah, I gotta come back one time and play us a song, all right? Photographer, that doesn't surprise us, and apparently he enjoys traveling. Sam, on behalf of the Rochester City School District and all those people that you bless with your gifts, thank you very much and congratulations on your new position. Now the other person who's worked for a number of years, 30, she's got you by 1 year, Sam, is Marge Brumfield. And Marge, stand up for a minute, please.
32 years.
Marge, is it 32 years or 30 years? All right, all right, all right. 1982. You know, I'm getting a little personal here. I'll tell you a little bit of history. A judge many years ago appointed me receiver for the Rochester area paraprofessionals, right? And it was a tough job to step into because it was a tough situation. This was long before I was on the board. And it was a tough job to step into, and it was made especially difficult because of the circumstances. But my time there as receiver for the organization was very short-lived, and shortly thereafter, Marge and others took over and did what I could not do. And Marge, there is nothing that this community can say to you, and I know your members have said it to you, in terms of giving thanks for the gifts that you have shared with this community. And you had to give a lot, because I don't know if people around here remember that time in this district's history and RAP's history. It was a very, very challenging time, and I know it took a lot from you and your family, but here you are, still shining and still working and still giving. So Marge, I want, on behalf of the Rochester School District, I want to congratulate you, thank you, and tell you we really do appreciate your gifts, and you will be missed. But before you go, I want you to take the podium and just tell folks, if you don't mind, come on, Marge. Tell the folks what you plan on doing and where we can expect to hook up with you again, Marge.
This is totally on the spot.
It was on the spot. 32 years, you deserve it, Marge.
Marge, you might say that you won't retire until the contract is
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's very much appreciated. It's been an amazing journey. And I say journey because it's not the end, it's not my destination, because I will continue to work, as Commissioner White said. I've done a lot. Starting my journey in the Rochester City School District has helped me grow enough that it has expanded me supporting education on a state level and a national level. So with that, I will continue my work in that, supporting students always first, and supporting educators in that work, making policy and making things happen so that it'll be an easier job for us. It's a passion of mine. I will continue to do that, and I tell you, this opportunity is something I fell into, as you know, but have no regrets. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Margie. Working with you for the past 3 years have been a joy, and I know we had some tough time because, as it should be, managing label shouldn't, you know, we deal with difficult issue, and I always appreciated that you high level professionalism and the student were the center of our discussion. Even when we disagree about salary increase or whatever, but you have served your members so well, and the students, which I think is the formula. I think great unions or great people in an organization like this have to pay attention to our students and the people who work here. And you did both well. So I enjoyed your retirement, and thank you again. You never privately or publicly said that my intention were other than the same goal that you have, and we share that, the well-being of the students and the people who work here. Thank you.
And to conclude my report, I will go quick, but the quickness in which I deliver these remarks is not reflective of where my head is at. If I could spend the time and offer a detailed comments, I would. I want to, as we began this evening's meeting, I want to focus very briefly on gifts. I'm not going to buy any of you board members gifts. They're not coming. Don't wait for them. They're not coming in the mail.
How about to the superintendent?
No, none for you. But I want to tell you all, I want to and acknowledge the gifts that you have given to me and to this district. Dr. Vargas, first of all, for coming in today. I think everybody could notice you were not feeling very well, and to make that sacrifice was, I think, reflective of your commitment to this district. I also want to thank you for the gift of being a good financial steward. Your report, which delivered remarks about the challenges that lie ahead for us, reflect, I think, how you have consistently tried to, from day one when you got here, to put us on firm financial footing, and that is a gift that pays time in and time and time again. So thank you for that. Malik, just today, I was talking to you on the phone and we were cracking up. The gift that, and again, these aren't intended to be flowery statements. These are just personally, I thank you for the gift of humor, Malik, and your focus on family and fatherhood. It's been a while since I've been at that age where I was, pulling kids with me, and you remind me of how valuable that is, and I would imagine that other young fathers are watching you and saying, wow, that's what a good father is supposed to be like. So that's a gift that I think everybody gets. Mary, you are so analytical, and you are research-based, and you are persistent, and I would ask that you never give that up, because I think we are a better board because of that. Jose, man, you are efficient and effectiveness. Those are, you're the E's of this organization. And while I am slow and sometimes talk too much, you remind me that we have a task at hand. And I think the balance is phenomenal. Willa, you not only are a friend, but you're a good listener. And we recently found out this year that she and I share something in common. We're both writers, right? But Bohan joked earlier on that she has continued to be the board's financial person and has done it through Malik's tenure. I think she even did it through, did she do it through Domingo's tenure? And she has been very selfless in that regard. So thank you for your gift of, that ends this year. Melissa is not here, but no doubt she, like Malik, reminds me of the gift of parenting. Just absolutely important on a board. Even though we all care very much about children, it's important to be reminded by people who have children in the district what that's like. And Melissa always reminds us of that. And I think she does it intentionally, and I'm glad that she does. Vice President Elliott, I saved you for last. I think I got everybody. I didn't say the best for last, but over the years, let me finish my remarks. Over the years, Commissioner Elliott and I have had times where we have not gotten along, and that's an understatement. But I want to thank her for the gift of resilience. She and I think it's actually a gift we gave to each other. She and I never stopped working on behalf of the kids, and because we did that, I would call her friend today. And that is a...
Not a play cousin?
No, not a play cousin. That is a gift not only to me, because she is much different than me, and she enriches my perspective, but I got to tell you, I think it is, if you allow me to say this, I think it is a gift to the community, because people can see how two people who were battling like bulls found a way to find common ground. And that is a gift to me, and I respectfully say to the community. So that ends my report, and we will move on.
Mr.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Before we move on, I just want to remind all of my colleagues, and I think pretty much everyone in the staff, in the audience is senior staff, that my home is open to you tomorrow from 5:30 on. Stop by on your way home from work so that it's not too much of an inconvenience for you on a Friday night. Bring your spouses. Justin, you can come and make sure that we are not conducting any business. Because it is absolutely not my intention that we talk shop at all. None of you, if you come, can talk shop. We're just going to enjoy ourselves and, stay as long as you feel comfortable. Pop in and then get off to your Christmas shopping, whatever you like. But please do stop by. And so my gift for the year is free food. Okay?
Free food. That's
free food.
I know we have an agenda to complete, and I promise you we will get it done, but I want to make sure that I say what I've said before publicly. None of this would happen without district staff and board staff. And I know Bohan quite regularly and frequently recognizes district staff, and I do as well. But I want to take, if you excuse me, everyone else, I want to thank Shanae Lee, on behalf of the board because I know she is really appreciated. And like my friend Malik, Shanae and I probably spend 50% of our time talking about serious stuff, another 50% laughing and cracking up. And humor is important in this job. If you take yourself too seriously, you will go absolutely positively nuts. And by the way, Shanae is not the only one that I laugh with. Bohan and I regularly laugh at each other and with each other. And I can look at a number of people out there. So the gift of humor is something that I think we all should probably share. So thank you all for that. All right.
And Mr. President,
yes, sir.
You didn't say anything about yourself, but I will. Let me just thank you, and I'm sure I speak for all the board, for the hours that you have. I don't know, I'm surprised your wife has not killed you.
She's thought about it.
For the amount of time, I mean, I don't think people realize, I was board president, so I know the amount of hours that you have put into this job this year. I'm talking Sundays, I'm talking Saturdays, and even when I went out of town, family stuff. I mean, one time I called this guy, he was at his, I shouldn't say this, he was at his a recital. I called him, he had to step out and take the call. I felt bad. But I mean, the amount of time that folks put in, that's why I always laugh when folks say, oh, the school board gets paid. They have absolutely no idea. It probably equates to about 10 cents an hour. None of us do this for money or anything else. It's nonstop. So I'm sure I speak for all of us on this dais. Thank you for all the hours and time that you put in, updating us every step of the way on things that are going on that you're working on. It's truly appreciated. I hope that you can relax a little bit over the holiday season. But I mean, if we added up all the hours that the board president has put in from January up until today, trust me, it's definitely more than a 40-hour work week, all the events. So thank you for all your hours.
You're welcome. All right, let's do this business here of considering resolutions. Can I get a motion to consider resolution 328 to 349?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those voting in favor of resolution 328 to 349?
Are there any 10-year resolutions in here?
Say aye.
Any 10-year? Are there any?
No, there's no 10-year resolutions. All those in favor of resolutions 328 to 349, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk, you've captured that vote. Can I get a motion to consider resolutions 350 to 354?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Any discussion regarding additional pay resolutions?
I just have to abstain from 354.
Madam Clerk, have you recorded that?
Yes.
Commissioner Adams?
Yep, I have a comment. These are the additional pay resolutions, and I would, just eyeballing it, I mean, I think this is kind of an average month of additional pay resolutions, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, for extra hours of teaching and other support and other activities. And I'm voting for them. They're, you know, have rationales, they serve purposes. But I just want to point out, especially as we're considering budget resolutions that, or the budget process and establishing priorities and so on, that we really look at, you know, how much we really want to budget for additional pay, because that is something that is in managerial control. I mean, there are a lot of contractual limitations, but in terms of prioritizing what and how we spend these dollars, I think it's really worth examining as we go into budget. And I know you do, but I think we really need to look. And one area that I've brought up before is the use of central instructional staff, so central office controlled instructional staff who have student contact duties. So, for example, instructional coaches and professional development, teacher on assignment type positions. And just in this one packet, we're spending over $66,000 on only those extra hours. So people who don't have the ability to have contact with students, they don't provide direct instruction, and they are centrally controlled, they're out of central office. So I've said this before, that it seems reasonable to me that that type of staff person should be managed such that they flex their hours, so that when they work on a Saturday, they're comping. And I realize there may be some contractual limitations on what can be done with that, but I believe that there is more room to manage and save a lot of dollars. And this cuts across many funding sources. There's little general funds being used for that purpose. Much of it is grant funded, but still, those are dollars that are available for various purposes. Thanks.
Any other comments respecting resolutions 350 to 354? All those in favor of passing resolutions 350 to 354, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Yeah, no to all.
Can I get a motion to consider resolutions 355 to 358? There's a
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. Resolution 357, why is the district recommending an amendment to the food services budget?
It's not. It's the one thing that isn't changing. You'll see, you should see that it says no change.
$357, that's $357.
It's a one-sentence resolution, says, resolved, does hereby amend to $20,242,000, period. There is no adjustment to this budget.
So why is the resolution being presented to us? I guess I don't
Because we
understand.
reserved the resolution number. We always do amendments in packets of 4 to cover general, special, general revenues, special revenue, expenditures, and food service. And very often, the food service doesn't have a change, especially now because we get funded 100% of our children rather than based on those who are eligible for free and reduced lunch.
So I guess I should have read the language. I guess that would have confused me. There is no adjustment to the budget. But the first sentence speaks to an amendment.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I get her confusion. I mean,
Yeah, I think in
hereby
the past,
amend-
we've simply had a resolution, the resolution number, and then it would say no, no content or some other such thing when there actually isn't a change. We'll have to look at past practice and see why there's anything there at all, but in the past, it's just been an empty resolution.
Okay. Anything else, Vice President Elliott?
No, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of resolutions 355 to 358, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, can I get a motion to consider resolutions 359?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or comment?
Other than stating that it went through the Finance Committee.
Any other discussion or comment? All those in favor of resolutions 359, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Let's move on to the resolutions 360 to 365. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion on resolutions 360 to 365?
I have a question on, it looks like we have 2 separate resolutions for SWBR. Can somebody, Mr. Superintendent, answer why there are 2 as opposed to maybe just being 1 for the total amount? Maybe I didn't read it clearly enough, but can somebody respond to why we have 2?
Bill?
Adele, I think that's on the...
Bill?
Well, it's facilities.
Facilities.
Somebody got to answer it better than that.
No, it's okay.
No, somebody got to answer it better than that.
Yeah, they're 2 separate. If you look at it, the 364 is for SWBR, and 365 is for Lozier, for those who, that was your question. 360.
No, no.
363 and
363 and
364.
364.
I don't know, Mike's out ill today, so I'm
Okay.
uncertain.
So
It did go through
can
the
we
finance
table
committee.
those resolutions until we get, because are we spending more than we should, or? I would not want to vote, I would like to table it if we don't have the answer to that.
I think what we could do is table 364. It does look like it's an exact duplicate.
Right, so I'm not exactly.
And that way you can be sure that we'll have only passed one tonight.
Okay. Yeah, so could I make a motion to table it? 364?
A motion for a table goes straight to a vote? Is that your motion?
Yes.
All those in favor of tabling resolutions 363, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, resolution 363 is tabled. Now any other discussion on resolutions 360 to 365? All right, there being no further discussion, all those in favor of resolutions 360 to 365 minus, I'm sorry, Commissioner Powell?
Beg your pardon, I
all
misspoke. I see that the third line on resolution 363 is to provide general structural engineering services, and 364 is to provide general architectural services. Now, these are services that are provided only under extraordinary conditions. For instance, when the roof blew off of one of the Franklin garages and we had to do something outside of our capital improvement cycle.
Okay.
That would be an example of when these contracts would be executed. But they are different. I see that online. They're only different by that one sentence.
Okay, so point of order, 363 was tabled?
It was tabled.
Okay, so Mr. President, if we can just go through the rest of the resolutions, and then I'll make a motion after the resolutions are done to pull 363 from the table, so that way that won't mess you up.
Great.
Before we do that, I think that's a great idea, but Bill, were you going to add something?
Commissioner Powell got it exactly right. One's structural, one's architect, just two different
You guys
services.
probably need to underline it or something, because I just did not catch it. But still, I guess the question, and maybe it's just process, why couldn't it be combined and?
Because you put it out to bid.
Yeah, put it together and just ask for $60,000 as opposed to.
We put it
All right.
out, we
You
put
can
this
get back
out
to
for
me on
bid,
that.
and these are
Okay.
extensions. That's why.
So let's vote on resolutions 360 to 365. Of course, 363 has been tabled, but we'll take that off the table in a second. All those in favor of resolutions 360 to 365, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Now, Commissioner Evans?
I'd like to make a motion to pull 363 from the table.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded.
Am I supposed to second?
Yep, thank
Okay.
you.
All those in favor of resolutions 363, say aye.
What, being pulled from the table.
Being pulled from the table, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that resolution is now before the board. Any discussion on resolution 363? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolutions 363, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Ayes have it. Let's move on to consideration of resolution 366 to 390. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on resolution 366 to 390?
I've got the same.
I'm sorry? 389. It's not three? Oh, okay, thank you very much. Just so the record is clear, we're discussing resolutions 366 to 389. Vice President Elliott, you were going to say something?
Yeah, it seemed to me that 366 and 367 were the same, so if someone can help me to determine where there may be a word or two that is different, I'd appreciate that.
367 are quite different.
Yeah, one is
366 and 367.
One is 2,000, one is 5,000.
In order for this to be preserved, you got to get to the mic. You okay with it?
One's for special education, one's for general education. The numbers are.
Sorry about that. It's all right.
I usually am such a perfectionist.
Teacher voice.
Yes, one of those is for translation for special education, and the other one is for translation for general education screening, new
So-
entrant screening.
So the 366 includes for the language for special education?
Let me look here. Yes, it says, yes, for the Committee on Preschool Special Education meetings. And then let's see, oh, the second part of it, it's not 367. The second part of that is for general education pre-kindergarten screening, and 367 below it is for the same company, but it's for, I believe, immigrant, refugee families.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So they're all different things for transport.
All right.
Any other further questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution 366 to 389, say aye.
Aye.
Absolutely. Do you have a no?
I had a no, I actually had a, I wanted to say why I voted no on one of them, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can I say? 376 in general, I tend to vote against consultants and assistive type processes that are, you know, corporations that are coming from out of our community, unless there's some reason why it seems like they're really, really uniquely suited. But also in this one, this is to train in data-driven instructional culture for the district-wide training in data-driven culture. And since long before I ever imagined serving on the school board, sitting as a parent in the audience, I heard that data-driven culture and data-driven approaches were going to solve our problems. Clearly, they will not. Clearly, baseline competence in data analysis and data understanding is essential, but clearly spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars year after year is a waste of money.
I think we already voted on those, so we're set.
Voted on?
Resolutions 366 to 389.
I had some no votes.
Go ahead, you can record them.
368, 375, 376, 380, 382. At this time, the contract, only because I was not a part of those discussions, and 389.
Thank you, Vice President Elliott.
No on 376.
Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Okay, there is no new business. We've already covered speakers on the agenda. Just a point of information, our next organizational meeting is our organizational meeting is January 2nd, 2015, 12 o'clock. Yeah, that's incredible, January 2015. That will be a very short meeting, so don't be late. Our next business meeting, full business meeting, is January 22nd, 2015 at 6 o'clock. We will do the commissioners' cookies and conversation. And in fact, I want to say, Commissioner Evans, I felt bad last month when we did, for those of you who don't know, every month we have a commissioners' cookies and conversation. It starts at 6 o'clock so people can engage with us rather than just speak at the podium. We sort of mill around and talk to folks over cookies. And we also have a playlist. Each commissioner puts together a list of 10 songs, and they sort of play with the speaker, and we just sort of mill around. But last month, I think it was, Commissioner Evans put together his list of 10 songs, and I forgot why. We were really distracted. We were doing some other stuff, so we really didn't get the chance to listen to they have to pick 10 inspirational songs while people are sort of, and he had his playlist, and I didn't hear your song, so we're gonna put him on. I know they played, but I didn't hear him, so we're gonna do that for yours. It's gonna be next month. I'll see where your skills are at, what kind of music you pick.
Mine was the Children of Selma with civil rights music.
All right.
Y'all know nothing about the Children of Selma. So Mr. President, if I can just congratulate Marge Brumfield on her last contract. You know, we did just pass that tonight. Congratulations.
Yes,
you got that passed.
And I would tell folks, we talked very briefly about the EPO contract. If anybody wants to take a look at that proposal, it is on our webpage at www.rcsdk12.org. Also, by the way, on that website, there is the Commissioner's Corner. The commissioners submit monthly statements of interest, so we would encourage you to go there. Can I get a motion to adjourn? It's been moved and seconded. This meeting is adjourned.
Van, here you go. Van, here you go.
Is that on your list?
What you know about this?
I like a Christmas song.
Yeah, here you go. Alexander O'Neal.
Alexander O'Neal.